Hey, what's going on, guys? It's been a while, but we finally got more Sacred Stones heroes. In this banner, we got Seth, Tana, or Tana. I'm gonna call her Tana because Hannah, Tana, Amelia, and Innes. In this series, I will go over the unit's default skill set, and at the end, I'll give you guys my opinion and ranking on the units in this banner from best to worst. Note that when I go over the unit's stats, I'm only reviewing the raw stats alone with no skills included. Before we start, I want to let you guys know that another YouTuber that you guys may be familiar with, her channel name is nstyler. We made a Discord channel recently. If you guys are interested in joining and want a way to interact with us, the link will be in the description, and I'll even leave a link as a pinned comment. There's a lot of awesome people in there already, and it's a blast talking to them. But anyways, let's get the review started. Our first hero is Seth. His max stats are 37 HP, 32 attack, 31 speed, 32 defense, and 22 resistance. Right off the bat, you can see that his stats are really balanced. He's almost like a defense version of Ellawood, but the best comparison is probably Stall. They almost have identical attack, defense, and resistance. Stall has more health but a much lower speed. In my opinion, having 5 more speed is a lot better than having 9 more health, especially when we're talking about speed 30 and above. That's usually when the speed is actually useful. Not so useful for doubling enemies, but it is useful for preventing doubles. That being said, his offensive stats aren't that great for a normal team, but he'll do fairly well on a Horse Emblem team. 22 resistance is kind of whatever. I don't think anyone is going to think about tanking mages with only 37 HP and 22 resistance. His weapon is Ruby Sword. This weapon is decent on him. He's somewhat physically bulky and has a balanced offensive stat spread, so with Ruby Sword equipped, he can do great against green units. He shouldn't receive that much damage from X units and can even survive some green mages. He can survive an attack from a fully built Nino with Erica buffs, which is +3 attack and +4 speed. Assist is swap. It's a great skill, one of the best next to reposition. Use Seth to swap with an ally to get the ally out of danger and make Seth tank the physical hits for them. A skill is Fortress Defense. He is now the second hero that comes with this skill, first being Lucas. He doesn't really need the extra defense to tank axe units. Ruby Sword already helps him in that regard. Unfortunately, he still almost dies to a fully built Ryoma, Lucina, and Ike. He also takes a massive beating from Fury Xander and deals very little damage back on the counterattack. With Ruby Sword equipped, I don't think he really needs this skill. It doesn't improve his matchups against axe units, and for the most part, it doesn't help his matchups against the popular sword unit. B skill is a new one, Seal Attack Defense 2. After combat, inflict attack defense -5 on foe through his next action. I don't think it's that good on Seth. The best units to get this debuff on are the sword units because he doesn't get the extra advantage from Ruby Sword. But the thing is, Seth either gets one round KO'd by these sword heroes or he takes a massive beating to the point where he would still die even after the debuff. I think an attack and defense debuff is a great combination. Your heroes get to deal more damage and take less damage from the enemy. So should you pull for Seth? No. He's not a terrible, unusable hero. He's really average. His stats aren't outstanding and his kit is just very boring. Skills aren't worth summoning for, and he's just a typical anti-X hero. Next up is Tana. Her max stats are 36 HP, 34 attack, 36 speed, 25 defense, and 25 resistance. Very strong and solid stats. The stats are similar to Cordelia. Tana has 1 less attack but 1 more speed. If you are curious, I checked the calculations for each version of the Brave Lance builds, and they basically came out with the same results as Cordelia. Tana is much better at running Fire Sweep Lance than Cordelia because of the extra 1 speed. I don't really know what else to say about her stats. She's on par with Cordelia. That should be enough said. She has a unique weapon, which I think is called the Daphner, 16 might, and if Tana is attacked by a foe using sword, axe, or a lance, Tana receives 7 defense during combat. That is a fairly strong effect. Of course, it only works on the enemy phase, but with this effect, Tana is able to reach 32 defense. That defense with 36 speed means that more than likely she's probably going to live for most units since they most likely won't be able to double her. You can utilize it in many ways, pad some damage to safely enter desperation range, or maybe combine it with close defense. I would say Luna is better, and if you decide to put her on a flyer team, the Draconic Aura scales really well with the attack buffs. A slot is speed defense 2, grants 2 speed and defense. This skill isn't that bad for a budget set. She has enough speed to the point where speed +3 isn't that much of a better option, and the 2 defense gives her the extra defense that she really needs. C slot is a new skill, Guidance 3. This skill is a very interesting one. Infantry and armored allies within 2 spaces can move to a space adjacent to unit. This skill, along with Wings of Mercy, was made to end your arena runs. So what it does is, if an infantry or armored ally is within 2 spaces of Tana, they can basically teleport next to Tana. This skill alone makes Tana really great for a team composed of different movement types. It will still do some work in Fire Emblem teams, but I'm just trying to say it will work a lot better on a more diverse team. So should you pull for Tana? Yes, I think she's a solid unit. Really really good stats and has great skills. I'm not going to put her too high on the priority list because she's not a must-have unit. Yeah, she's super strong and is on par with Cordelia and everything, but for a Fire Emblem team, there's already a lot of flyers out there that can kind of fill her role. Needless to say, she's excellent if you're just looking for a strong lance unit for your normal teams. Next up is Amelia. She's quote-unquote a villager, so her base total stat is higher than normal, plus she's an armor unit, so it's even more inflated. Her base stat total is 173, which ranks her as number 1 for the highest base total stat in the entire game. At max level, she has 47 HP, 34 attack, 34 speed, 35 defense, and 23 resistance. So it looks like we got our second fast, quick armor unit, first being Drog. However, Amelia is just insane. Her HP is super high, which isn't surprising. 34 attack is above average, 34 speed is excellent, 35 defense is also above average. Her resistance is only 23, but since she has really high speed and HP, she should be able to tank mages fairly well, especially if she gets some defensive buffs from ward or fortified armor. On an Armor Emblem team, players usually run one Hector and one Sheena. Sheena is there to mainly counter Reinhardt and other mages. Amelia is able to fulfill that role. She's not as good of a magical tank as Sheena, but she can still work. Plus attack Deathblow Reinhardt can't kill Amelia, and a fully built Brotel Nino can kill both Amelia and Sheena, so there's nothing really to discuss about there. If you have Sheena but no Hector, then she can be a replacement for him. I'm not going to say which one is better, they both are top tier. Hector has distant counter and arm as, while Amelia just has insane stats. Her weapon is Slaying Axe, 14 might, and it accelerates special trigger, cooldown count -1. This is a solid weapon and a great addition. There wasn't that many options for axe weapons. We have Brave Axe, Emerald Axe, Killer Axe, and Silver Axe. Hammer isn't that good. Legion's Axe, Lilith Floaty, and Melon Crusher are all hard to get. But yeah, can't go wrong with 14 might and the special cooldown reduction. Special is Sacred Cowl. I would say that this is a pretty good special for Amelia. If she's going to replace Sheena on your armor team, then she definitely should use this skill alongside Slaying Axe to reduce damage from mages. Shield Pulse is worth looking into to reduce even more damage. Boost skills are great for armored units since they have extremely high health. If your Armor Emblem team has Hector and requires a Sheena replacement, then I would say Water Boost is a good alternative. Armor March is the new C-slot skill. If Amelia has an adjacent armored ally at the start of turn, Amelia and any such allies can move one extra space. That turn only does not stack. This is a really good skill for armor teams. The main weakness for armor units is of course their mobility, and this solves that problem. Just to clarify what it does, if Amelia has any armor ally standing next to her at the start of the turn, Amelia and the adjacent armor ally can move 2 spaces, but only for that turn. It's like a hone movement skill. Something interesting that one of my Discord members found out was that when an armor unit receives the effect from Armor March, they can move 2 spaces through a forest tile. Usually forest tiles stops infantry units from moving past it, but this allows armor units to move past it, kind of like a flyer unit. But anyways, this banner has been great for armor units. On Armor Emblem teams we have Armor March, and on normal teams we have Tana's Guidance. So should you pull for Amelia? Yes, this girl has the highest base total stat in the game, and her stats are allocated very well. Her default kit is perfect for the most part. I would say Earth Boost is the debatable one, but it depends on what her job is on your team. Just overall a really solid unit. Last hero in the banner is Innes. His stats are 35 HP, 33 attack, 34 speed, 14 defense, and 31 resistance. This guy has a pretty good stat spread. 33 attack and 34 speed is great for an archer. It's actually one more attack and speed than Takumi. HP is on the lower side and defense sucks, but he has 31 resistance. This guy is pretty much Niles 2.0. He mainly will be used for countering mages. I'm going to go over his weapon, then go over the entire kit. His weapon is Nidhogg, 14 might, and basically has the same effect as the Owl Tomes. Since his role is to counter mages, this weapon effect is actually very useful for that job. Mages are usually the first units I take out in arena because they are so easy to bait. It's not that hard to group up your guys in the beginning of the match to quickly take out any mages. So the rest of the skills are pretty self-explanatory, so I'll go over how good this guy's kit is. With Fortress Resistance equipped and 0 adjacent allies, Innes can tank and take out plus attack Deathblow Reinhardt and Life and Death Delthea. With 2 adjacent allies, Innes can tank and kill a fully built Brotel Nino with Erica buffs. He can even survive a hit from a +6/+6 Brotel Cecilia and take her out on the flying player phase as long as she doesn't have advantage. So what I'm trying to get at is that Innes is an excellent mage counter. This guy can tank and take out most if not all the popular mages in the game, especially if you utilize Nidhogg's effect. He also has Cancel Infinity, which is perfect for colorless units like Innes because his main weakness are Raven Tome, Triangle of Death mages. Distant defense is probably a lot better than fortress resistance, but fortress resistance is fine for what it does for his role. So should you pull for Innes? Definitely, this guy is the best at what he does, which is countering mages. He can tank and kill a lot of the popular mages out there. Some mages you may need to utilize Nidhogg's effect, but that's what it's there for. And the best part about him is that he requires little investment. His whole kit synergizes well together, therefore he's very free to play friendly. All teams should have some type of mage check, and Innes can be that guy. Plus he does very well against all three colors. Alright, to wrap things up here, I'll rank these units from best to worst. Before I do that, I want to say that aside from Seth, the other three units are interchangeable. Ultimately, it depends on what you need for your roster, but personally, I would rank Innes at number 1. Him and Niles are the only archers that have really good resistance, and there's no question that Innes is 10 times better than Niles. Number 2 is Amelia, just insane stats, and she's a great addition to armor teams because of armor march. Number 3 is Tana. Like I said earlier, I didn't rank her that high on the priority list because there are already tons of blue flyers out there that can feel her shoes. And last is of course is Seth. Just take my ranking with a grain of salt. It's fine to summon for any of these heroes besides Seth. Seth isn't bad, but he's not great. The other 3 units are top tier for what they do. Anyways, if you're interested in joining the Discord server, you can check it out in the description and comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.